you were kind of saying this a little bit before, but like, how do you think, you know, this kind of reflects on our society? You know, with this increase of all of a sudden people going against, going against Asian Americans and people feeling this way. How do you think it reflects it on our society as a whole? Yeah.
I'll say this: if technology wasn't being such an obstructive little thorn in my side right now, I'd be like, all in, baby, let's do this. And yet, like, I feel as though if I don't get this done, you see this back. This is not my phone. This is the beater phone that my mom okay, wait. I'm gonna answer your question because I always do with these sort of questions, but I need to like lighten the mood so that I can like jump into that. My sister calls these trap phones or like anything that's like just like a backup trap. Have you heard of that?
I have heard of that.
Is that new? Because I've used beater. In my like high school days, it was like beater. Like a beater phone.
I'll be very honest. I've never heard of that term before. I never. See, this is another thing. I'm like, I guess I have an old soul or something because a lot of abbreviations are like so new to me. I always ask people, what does this mean? Because I don't know what to mean. I of course know like basic other like terms like BRB. That's a classic one. LOL, obviously. Like over time and as I grow older, it's like people are coming up with such new terms. I'm assuming that term that you just said is new because I definitely hadn't heard about it. But to be fair to me, I don't know a lot of terms to begin with. I'm not, and as far as technology wise, I'm not the person. Everyone in my job can tell you I am not the person to respond well to technology. But I think it's new because I definitely haven't heard that before. But I definitely
beater or trap.
Trap.
Okay, yeah, that's new to me as well. Okay. Yes. Mm-hmm. I feel you, man. Technology is weird. It keeps evolving and it keeps kicking our ass. Yeah. No. But like, this is not my phone. This is the phone that I should move this. At my workplace, I didn't have a good phone, my personal phone. God help me. I am attached. I pick Android because I don't want to do Apple and it's weird cult. But I gotta say, having just like this beat up iPhone that's like cracked all over, it's still better than my phone by miles. But maybe that's because of the model I picked. I don't know. But
I personally prefer Android over iPhone.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I just prefer it. iPhones, for me, there's a lot of things unnecessary. For some people, it works because they connect through their iPhones and they all of their lives connected through Apple and Apple products, which is great. Me personally, that's not my way. So me having an iPhone, a lot of its potential would be wasted on me using it. So I'm like, I might as well just have an Android that still functions all of the things I need and without it being super over the top and everything. So yeah, and that's just me.
I agree, man. I wish it's funny that you say that because my sister's kind of the opposite. Just like I have this phone, it's fancy, bells and whistles. It just looks nice. I'm not gonna learn how to use it to its full extent.
My sister's the same way. She's 19 right now, and it's like she's an iPhone 5, I think, for like ever. And she's getting an iPhone, whatever the new one is. I think it's like 11 or something. Mm-hmm. And it's like, and I'm like, I mean, yeah, go for it. I don't care as much, but it's just funny to see her like upgrading and like, if it works for you, it works for you.
Well, it's like it could work more for you, but they don't need that much power.
Yeah.
Use on my phone. Yeah, it's funny. Oh man. Yeah, but to answer your question, one more time.
Oh, how do you think because of this increase all of a sudden within the past couple months, of people going against Asian Americans and this feeling of anti-Asians building up since the beginning of this whole pandemic? How do you think that reflects our society? on our society as a whole.
Well, you know, man, if you don't know me already, I'm the person who has my finger on the pulse of a lot of like news things and a lot of like how do you say it, catalogs of content of like hubs where people are talking about these sort of things. And so I'm always good at like promoting, like, you should check out this, you should check out this. I don't know who your audience is and how I can tailor to them, but I'm going to say that the podcast that I mentioned earlier, the work that I'm doing, I'm going to promote it because it'll make me look better if more people listen to it. So next week, for listeners of this recording, next week, check out Green Card Voices, the podcast. You can find that on all the platforms, on Google, Spotify, whatever. And if you look up on YouTube, hashtag Love Your Asian Neighbors on the Green Card Voices channel, we will have our 4th episode with 2 historians from University of Connecticut, Fred and Nare. I didn't know about this, but UConn has a pretty robust, or at least the staff has a pretty cool. They have a pretty cool staff of Asian American like scholars, and I didn't know about this. I only met Fred through like this talk he was doing at a school, but listen to that. Listen to Fred and Nare talk. They go over some of the basics, and they get into some deeper stuff as well. We also have another recording, but main thing to talk about is that we are not in a new territory. Back in the 70s, there was 60s and 70s. People are already using terms like Chinese virus or Chinese flu for, I forget what it was, but there's that incident, as well as what Fred, one of the guests of this podcast, mentioned, the H3N2 disease, which was also called the Hong Kong virus or the Hong Kong flu. So there was also a precedent of a disease found attached to China with a Chinese geographic name. And, you know, Asia has had this long history in relationship to the white settler colonial U.S. of like being like this vector, this hub, this big swamp of diseases that are gonna just float over the Pacific and like swallow the U.S. in like just like this, how would you say it, like a swarm of pests, swarm of locusts, yeah, that. But you know, white Europeans beat us to it, so I don't know what they're afraid of. So but major apologies, deep, I don't even know what the word would be, like condolences is not big enough, but for the First Nations, for the First Nations people who are sadly at the butt of that joke, right? I can make fun of the white settlers, but who's the people who bore the brunt of that? And so like we have these people like pointing fingers and probably soon enough like artillery at Asians and Chinese and whatever, even though they were themselves the ones who like who I guess like it takes one to know one, right? But like exactly. the people who are those ones have all the military power to say like shut the fuck up or we'll kill you. I'm sorry, I cussed. What's your audience again?
Young adults, really, but basically anyone who will listen. So don't worry. Our whole point was just to give ourselves a platform. So,
okay.
I'll say this: it's definitely not for kids.
Well, I will refrain. I'm passionate. Hi, everyone. Find something that you can say heck yes, but like when you're old enough, the intense version of that, heck yes to, and learn how to be informed about those topics so that you can have a good argument, that you can come in with blazing heat, but also a smarty pants so that no one can take you down both logically and energy-wise. That's my thing I would tell people. And that's why I would tell people like now with COVID and the hate, the structural hate, let's not forget that this is not just interpersonal, like I hate Zhao or whatever. I don't want to start like stereotyping. Yeah. Down the street. That whole country is a hotbed for this virus, and we need to be morally justified in at some point finding a strategic way to drop every chemical thing on them so that they don't eliminate us. The moral justification has been here since forever. It's just a matter of like when the opportunity will arise for them to like consolidate that justification into weaponry, into like mass weapons of mass destruction that are morally justified by God, according to them. Right.
I mean, you put it well. I mean, I'm glad that you were able to come up here, in this video, because I guess I'll say it. I've been kind of bragging about you a bit because one of my other coworkers were like excited to hear what you had to say, and I don't think they'll be disappointed.
They better not. I come here with the flames. I come here with the tactical nukes here, the verbal tactical nukes.
Oh my goodness, man. But you every time I talk to you, man, you always bring out like like you say, you bring out the fire. But yeah, that's all I have, and I really, really enjoyed listening to you, and I'm sure other people will. And so yeah, that's all on me. Do you have any final words to say?
There's a quote that I like a lot, and for some reason it makes sense here. It's kind of only somewhat out of context, but the quote is, "What got you here won't get you there." It's very simple, but it's very profound. It's like the idea of like, you might be cocky. You might be like, oh man, I'm gonna rest on my laurels. I got all these championship trophies. I like made it big. I'm the big kahuna. But then like, there are underdogs who are like right around the corner. The context, the environment has changed, and they know how to work it in a way that you are not familiar with, that you may have built all this energy knowing how to like conquer and slay at this and this and this arena, but then the arena changes, the sand shifts under your feet, and now these underdogs are like, yeah, this is our terrain now, and you gotta adapt. Whether you're the underdog or the grand champion 10-time blah blah blah, because we are subject to our environments, for better or for worse. We can grow with them, or we can be fooled into thinking we're better than that environment.
Amen to that.
Yeah.
So yeah, everyone at home, please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and please share with anyone that you know. Share this video with anyone that you can share it with. All right. Bye.
Bye.